that we're going to be interviewing, I'll be interviewing today. First off, I want to give a thanks to the NEO team and also specific to the Moonlight project for sponsoring this awesome event where we're going to have interviews with all the major founders and key people for the NEO ecosystem. So join me in the next couple of hours as we begin to stream across various channels, Crypto Love, Chico Crypto, we have Young Investor, Young GLT, and we also have my channel where we're going to be going through all the main ones, and we're going to start the kickoff for today with TheKey, Ken Huang, which is the key advisor, chief architect for this project. So first of all, welcome very much, Ken. Appreciate having you here. Thank you. So Ken is the chief technical advisor for TheKey, so I want to ask a couple of questions here. So Ken, can you tell us a little bit about TheKey? What specifically is TheKey and what do they do?
So TheKey is based on a technology called blockchain-based multiple dimensional real-time dynamic identity verification. So trying to actually provide a foundation for both public chain and the private chain, a identity layer. Maybe I will keep the answer a little bit shorter, but it's what we view currently in the chain, public or private chain or consortium chain. There is a missing link, is the identity layer, which could have be a next killer app. And I will actually, this afternoon, it is 4 p.m., at the NEO conference, I will talk more about that.
Awesome, thank you for that. So just for those of you guys who have never heard of TheKey, a couple of fun facts about them. They are basically going to be a digital identity asset tool for digital currencies. And currently they have about 23 copyrights, 13 patents, and they have already 260 million people in China. So moving on those facts, let's talk a little bit about the token specifically, Ken. Can you tell us a little bit about how the token economics works for TheKey? And how is it going to work in this ecosystem for digital identity specifically, and having people get that in and incentivize them to use that token?
Very good question, thank you. So our general view, first maybe our general view of why token is needed in a decentralized trustless system. And then I will talk about how the token will be used in the TheKey project, some aspect of it. So what fundamentally we view the decentralized trustless system, for that to work, you need a token. So the token can play 3 crucial roles in this token economy or in the decentralized world. One is a smoother, like it's making the transaction more smooth. If you have to using fiat, like maybe most people know Fabric, Hyperledger Fabric. It is a consortium chain mostly used. It does not need a token, but in order for you to do the transaction, you have to using the fiat. Then you have to have the bank involved. For cross-border trade, you have to use SWIFT. So it's make it more like once you have SWIFT involved, you have the like T+1 or T+2. There is a delay, so it's not frictionless. And with token, it make the transaction more smooth. This is one. The second one we view as the whole ecosystem, TheKey or the NEO or the project is a organic ecosystem. For organic ecosystem, you need the blood. The blood is to circulate. So we're thinking the token is a blood. So, and the third, I will move faster. So the third, we think it's a glue. It's a glue by using the incentive, the glue, the parts, every participant in this ecosystem together. So these are 3 crucial components. So every government, they want to ban those kind of things. I think they just do other countries a big favor. So this happened in the past with the red flag law in UK. I will talk about maybe this afternoon. Eventually, the automobile industry happening in other countries, in US, in Germany, not in UK, right? So it's a similar thing happening now. Some country ban it, so it's a do big favor for other country. So this one, but why we need this in, I move fast, okay? Why we need this in our key system? Maybe some of typical use case. As a consumer, you can using the key to purchase for identity fraud verification or protection, or you can use the token to purchase the product from the service provider. And the service provider, if they want to use your identity, they have to pay. They have to pay, right? For your identity. It's self-solving identity. And also identity provider, they can get the token by validate your identity. So it's just a high level way you use.
So Ken, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this idea of identity. So it seems like everybody right now has issues with looking at records. In terms of your use cases specifically, where do you see the key being used specifically in what industries that would potentially be using for identity verification or perhaps reducing the paper load? Because as I was reading the paper and I was reading the project, it seems like you have a really good value proposition for places where records would be used, where basically you could travel to different countries and verifying some documentation. Is there anything that you are working on in industry specifically that you think the key would really shine in terms of its use?
Yeah, so the first generation of the key product is already in use, is on the health insurance. So if you go to the doctor office, you just need to use this app, and then you don't need to file the claims. All the reimbursement or the cost goes through the insurance directly, go to your wallet, right? So this is the first product. So fundamentally, we think the use case has a different level of authentications or validation. Some use case, like you go to shopping, you just need to give them your home address, your phone number, that's it, right? But if you want to go to the hospital, they need to know a little bit more. But also there is difference. So we are building a kind of a smart contract layer to validate the service provider what kind of information they can obtain or not. Like if you are a shopper, you cannot ask for medical history.
That's correct.
Right? If you are medical doctor, they may not ask you, are you on the flight list, or they cannot check this, right? So if you board the airplane, so that's a grand vision. It's eventually, that's the future we are talking about.
Absolutely.
Right?
So to just kind of make sure we are aware, the Key has already established key relationships in China specifically. That's actually where they're beginning to roll out their blockchain. They have partnerships with China Unicom, China Minsheng Bank, and also China RF. When we're talking about these industries, Ken, what do you see your growth potential going forward? Is China going to be your primary market, or are you planning to move into the other countries to begin to tokenize and begin to expand your operations, or is that something where you're only focused on local governments or local areas?
So there is some opportunity for now, mostly in China, but also I talked with one of the founder of the Key. He mentioned that potentially Singapore government was also talking with the Key. That it's not formalized yet, right? So we cannot say it's a project start, but there's a possibility. The underlying technology can be used, leveraged everywhere. It's the market, the data. So eventually, what I'm envisioning is we have the Key project, which have in China and also in US and also in Singapore, but it has to be operated, maintained within the territory. It's because of the law, like in Europe you have the GDPR, right? The General Data Protection Regulation. In US you have HIPAA law, HIP, right? So the health and also FISMA, all this. So you have to obey the policy and the regulations or privacy laws. And in China also, they have privacy. It's not in law yet, but it's lots of discussion, lots of draft on this. So
thank you. Thank you very much. So just to kind of, one last question, Ken, if you could say in one sentence, why should people buy the Key token and why should people be interested in your project? If someone were to say, 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say to that, to those people?
Yeah, so I usually don't advise
Yes,
for buying any tokens, anything. So my actually law is, maybe I forgot, like I used to work at Huawei as its blockchain architect, and my law is always on the technical and the security and the performance side. And when I look at this project, I also look at from this angle and also from the token economic, because I truly believe this token-based economy or decentralized economy. So I will go from this point. And then lots of people ask me, can you recommend this? I said, for this, actually, you need a financial analysis license. I don't have the license, so I cannot. So I will not say you should buy or not. I just provide you a vision. So.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying. Not financial advice. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Ken, for the background. I really appreciate you having you here today. All right, guys. Thank you very much. This is Crypto Bite Out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, viewers? It's Tyler here of Chico Crypto, and I'm here with Fuji Nichols of Wowoo.
Hi.
Say hi to everyone out there, Fuji.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for watching.
Yeah, enjoy the live stream, everyone. It's going to be a great time. So the first question I have for you, Fuji, is could you just give us a quick elevator pitch of Wowoo? What is it, and what does it provide for users?
Okay. So in Wowoo platform, what we are trying to provide is a platform where people without any physical backgrounds or knowledge in the computer science to be interacting with blockchain very easier and more simply. So what we're trying to do is providing this platform where users can register as a service operator, and they could customize and make their own tokens that fits inside their community.
So what you're telling me is basically anyone can create their own token and issue their own token, provide value to their community.
Yep, that is correct. But our concept is trying to create an inspiring value, and this is what we really focus on. We don't want any kind of project, but it's kind of hard to decide then what kind of project is actually legit or not. So we have a lot of council members who are going to be deciding which projects would actually have a good influence on the society.
So how is that council deciding on the good projects? Is it just like a review of it, or are you talking with the founders? How does that work exactly?
Well, of course, we will be consulting all those projects, and we will be interviewing, of course, and evaluating by some criteria that we decide. So the first priority is that if the project is really going to influence the society in a good way, making life and our daily lives very more, happier.
Happy, easy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Wowoo tokens. Wowoo tokens are basically the crypto assets of the Wowoo platform. Can you explain how value is transferred with Wowoo tokens?
Okay, so the first Wowoo platform-based token will be WowBit, that we are going to have a token sale pretty soon. WowBit represents the Wowoo platform itself and the community itself. So the people who are going to register on our platform, they will be making somewhat like a brother or siblings of WowBit. They could use WowBit too, but then if they have a different demand or different needs inside their community, they can make a sibling of WowBit. WowBit has a monetary reserve system, and we have a special resolution system, which all the users inside the community are to judge whether what the Wowoo community should do with WowBit and the Wowoo community. But if the user prefers to use a different kind of token that's the fit inside their community, they can fix and customize it to their own tokens that they need inside that community.
So WowBit tokens are customizable, what you're saying to me. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So what industries do you see using WowBit tokens and creating their own customizable forms?
Okay, so as of now, we are working with a partner in Japan. It's a listed company named OKWave.
OKWave, yep.
Yep, and OKWave provides a Q&A services. So as you can see, Q&A services, if you can imagine, how is that profitable? So basically, they just do advertising.
Exactly.
And which is not really profitable.
No.
But inside that community, of course, there's a lot of inspiration going there. So, for example, if I have a question, someone off the internet comes on with a great answer, and I can give him the best answer, but he's not, he's not getting any profit.
Nothing at all. Yeah.
So what OKWave wants to do is create an inspiring value inside this community where OKWave can give them bonus, for example. And the people who can, inside that Q&A services, they could vote for whoever does the best answer. And if they get certain amount of votes, then they will be appreciated again with the bonus from OKWave. So this is just the one use case.
The one use case of
And another use case that we are kind of thinking of is the one with stem cells. So we have a company, a client, who wants to do an ICO on our platform. And what they want to do is, of course, they want to collect data, so biological data of the users. So users can, I'm not sure how this is exactly going to work, we have to figure it out, but the users can update their physical data, biological data inside the blockchain and give it back to our client, who's going to be the service operator in that case. So in return, they could give back, let's say I have a cancer in my lung or something, but I have a lot of those tokens, like let's say stem cell tokens, then they would be prioritizing me for making my lungs. But I'm not sure how this is exactly going to work. I'm sure there's a lot of issue, but they're thinking of that kind of stuff. So pretty much it could, I think we can fit in any kind of industry, but as long as we're trying to make people's life more happier.
Better for the people, exactly, and that's a very admirable thing to do.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of a technical question for you. Could you explain smart active control of the Wowbit tokens?
Okay, so smart active control is one of the functions that we have inside Wowoo platform. So we can offer two kinds of token. So the one token, Wowbit, with the value, let's say if it's listed on some kind of exchanges, then it would have a value. And another type of token is that Wowbit without any economical value. Until it's like a switch, so to say. So if you turn on the switch, then it would have a value. But unless you turn on the switch, it won't have any value.
Wow.
So you can give it out like as a coupon kind of. And when they do certain things, then you can turn on
the switch, and then
so
it
that's how
activates
the smart active control works. And it's a hard question to ask when would exactly that feature be needed. It really depends. So it's just one of the features we think that might be legit in some kind of industry, but we're not sure how it's exactly going to work. But like let's say in OKWave's ICO, if they are to perform one in our platform, they can for example, if the people votes you as the best answer, OKWave can give you this non-economic valued Wowbit, for example. And upon doing certain things, then maybe they can turn on the switch so you would have a value. Because they're not allowed to give direct, money.
Direct money to people, so this is kind of circumventing that. That's pretty awesome. Are you guys one of the only projects out there doing smart active controls?
I think so. I don't think I've ever heard something similar.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. So another thing I'm pretty interested about is the Lotto function in the Wowoo platform and Wowbit tokens. Could you explain the Lotto function?
Okay, so Lotto is basically the same thing. So for example, if you are a service operator and you have let's say you own a shop and you have like about 100 customers and you would like to give out, let's say, a trip to Hawaii. Inside, one of these 100 people will get a trip to Hawaii. So what you can do is give out those non-valued Wowbits, and one of the person inside this is going to be winning a lottery that has the Wowbit with the feature that gives them the ticket to Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of works like that.
Wow, that Lotto function will be very useful, and I think that's a very, very good way to spread the tokens out to people.
I hope so.
I think it's a really good way. So another question regarding OKWave, could you expand on that partnership a little bit for us?
Okay, so basically, OKWave is a listed company in Japan, as I said, but they're not funding us directly. They have their subsidiary company in Malaysia called OKFink. And OKFink is trying to work on a lot of blockchain projects. They're based in Malaysia. And I am based in Singapore. My company is founded in Singapore. So they, OKFink is funding us to support, because OKWave is like, you know, like the definition of heartwarming like contents. They do nothing but Q&As. And they thought, you know, this blockchain industry is really going to change the world and can benefit those people with hearts. So that's why they really liked the concept of Wowoo. And then we had a talk, and then we were able to make a partnership.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. So when is Wowoo's platform going to be integrated with OKWave? Do we have a date for that, an expected time?
Okay, so after our token sale, we're hoping to release our actual Wowoo platform by no later than third quarter of this year. And probably OKWave's going to be the first one who's going to be performing ICO on our platform. So meaning OKWave might be doing their ICO around fourth quarter of this year or later this year. But not only that, but OKWave, because they have a lot of data that shows the demand of people and, you know, what makes people happy, because they do Q&As.
They do the Q&A.
And they do AI services as well. So we are trying to integrate these kind of data into our community as well, so we can provide an AI matching service, for example.
Wow.
So if you want, you know, like shoes, for example, and you want to pay in Bitcoin, let's say, but you don't know who wants to offer the shoes accepting Bitcoin. There's no platform you can search that. You can go on Amazon, maybe they accept Bitcoin, but that's the only thing you can do. So if we provide a platform based on the OKWave's knowledge, we believe we can make a real peer-to-peer kind of service where people can find easily what they want and who can offer that.
And how they want to buy it and with what tokens.
Yeah.
So you're saying someone could use your platform and search for a product with Ethereum and say, hey, I have a bunch of Ethereum and I'm looking for some Nike sneakers.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Any other developments coming up for your platform?
Okay, so right now we're in discussion with Neo because we are currently, it's a kind of shame to say, but we are based on Ethereum now. And because we didn't get a chance to look into Neo at the time that we got this idea, so we built it on Ethereum. But of course, we don't think Ethereum is the best option. You know, obviously attending this wonderful conference, I believe now, you know, Neo's the next thing.
Neo's the
Be the
next
next thing, of course. But, you know, we're still in discussion whether if we should switch to Neo, whether we should make our own blockchain. So in the technical part, we might, you know, do something flexible, but it's up for the community because, as I said, we have a special resolution function where it's going to be like a vote. So all the token holders can say, okay, let's switch to Neo, then we'll do that. If not, we'll make our own or we stick to Ethereum. We're not sure. But either way, we will be making our own wallet services, hopefully within this year. And provide those peer-to-peer matching services. Maybe that's going to be next year, but hopefully we can do something very interesting within the blockchain community.
Well, that sounds awesome, Fuji. I thank you so much for being here, and good luck with your platform, and I hope you switch over to Neo.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
ありがとうございます。
What's up, everybody? YLGV here. We are here at NEOTalk at NEO DevCon 2018. Again, I just want to thank the Moonlight project for sponsoring NEOTalk and just for making this opportunity possible. Today, we are here with Steven from EchoLink. So really, just to start off, can you just give a basic explanation of really what EchoLink is and where did this idea come from? Why did you guys decide to build this?
Well, thanks for inviting me. So EchoLink, for EchoLink, we're trying to build a trust-based economy through innovations in blockchain. So what does that mean? That means we are trying to make all the applications, all the transactions in the real world much smoother through instilling some trust in the process. So there is an article in The Economist recently which says that if an economy has a lot of higher level of trust, then the transaction of doing business is much lower and it's very efficient. And if you look at the economies around the world, the ones that have higher per capita income actually have higher trust in their business transactions. And we believe that blockchain is actually a good platform to build a high trust economy. And more specifically, the first area we're addressing is the credential degree sector. So you can think of us as a online professional system with verified degree information in the system.
Right.
And you asked me about how we came up with the idea. Throughout my career, I interviewed hundreds of people, and the current system of hiring people is pretty long and time-consuming and costly. So we have full-time. We had full-time professional recruiters that search people on the internet, and sometimes contact them by email or phone, invite them for interviews, and then finally, if we want to hire someone, we do background checks, and then only then do we really know if the degree is verified or not.
Right.
So we wanted to. So at EchoLink, we want to shorten the time period, and we wanted to actually make the verification before the interview process, and that's the objective of EchoLink for its first use case. Yeah.
Now, looking at EchoLink, you could see from a glance, looking at the project, that right now it's looking to have resumes and information on the blockchain, and this way you could actually know who you're talking to. Do you see any other use cases for EchoLink in the future as it continues development?
Yeah, as I was saying, our ultimate objective is to build a high-trust economic system. So the first use case is degree, training certificates, anything that has to do with professional career. And then gradually we could actually expand it to, just throw some ideas out, like marriage licenses, some kind of contracts, asset verification. So we could branch off to other areas where trust of information is needed. So our system could be expanded into those different sectors.
Now, with blockchain and cryptocurrency, one of the biggest things has been privacy. And people end up going to cryptocurrency so their information is not readily available. How do you feel that certain people, not all people, but certain people will feel about having the information on the blockchain, and that companies that might be trying to hire them are just going to be able to see it no problem?
Right. So so as we know, the transactions are open to inspection on blockchain. But so there are several layers of privacy. Number one, in our specific case, the amount of data that we put onto blockchain is defined, which means that, for example, we all have university degrees. We all have the paper degrees. So the information on paper degrees, I believe that people want other people to see, right? Your name,
Right.
which school you went to, when you graduate. These kind of information are public. Now, you may not want people to see your GPA or the full transcript. That we can keep it private. So there are layers of different levels of information you put on blockchain. And further, in addition to that, the data is encrypted. So for the casual browser, they wouldn't be able to see what is going on. So only recruiters or actually people who actually have a legitimate reason to browse would be able to decode the encrypted information. And also, we further give the user a level of privacy settings. You could choose to publish the exact information. For example, you might just choose to publish your school and the year you graduate, or if you want, you can choose to publish a certain course information. So the level of privacy is totally adjustable by the user. Yeah.
And do you feel that in the future this could eventually eliminate the need for background checks, and you're just going to have this instead?
I think we could work with the background checking industry, actually provide them with a solution so that the process is more streamlined, and actually it's more cost effective for everybody. So I think I would say that we could bring the background verification industry to the age of blockchain. Actually, we would like to partner with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
So thank you so much for joining me. YLGV here from NeoCon. So let me send you guys over to Crypto Love.
Thank you.
Pose.
Boom shakalaka. What is up, guys? Randall here with Crypto Love, and I am here with my main man, Dean from VDT. Today, we're going to be talking about VDT. What's up, Dean?
Hi, man. What's up? How you doing?
Oh, just chilling, having a good time here at Neo DevCon. Thank you, Neo, for having DevCon. Thank you, Moonlight, for our accommodations, and thank you, viewers, for watching. Now, Dean.
Yeah.
What's up with VDT?
Yeah. Well, you have a few hours, or?
I think we're good for like an hour,
Okay.
4 hours, something like that.
Okay. I'll make it. I'll keep it short. It's a decentralized render farm. And it's being built on Neo with smart contracts.
Awesome. So what does that mean for people who don't know what decentralized render farm means?
All right. So rendering is basically the process when a computer turns a working project, like an After Effects project or a Maya 3D project, or when a computer turns a working project, like an After Effects project or a Maya 3D project or animation, into a viewable end result. So the thing that you end up watching on YouTube, maybe a 3D animation or whatever, music visualizer, that is the result of rendering. So then the decentralized render farm, which is VDT Network, allows for cheaper, faster rendering in a decentralized manner, making payments easier, making finding new render farms to connect to easier, and all that good stuff.
Awesome. That sounds really good. Now, so you mentioned that it's decentralized. Reminds me of, and computationally intensive, reminds me of a few other projects that people might know, like Golem and Sonam. How is VDT better?
All right, so Golem and Sonam are platforms, basically, and VDT is a protocol. So that entails that when you have a protocol, it can connect to other platforms, such as Golem and Sonam as well, and it can pick up those render tasks as well, or it can pass render tasks to Golem and Sonam. So it kind of interconnects with each other, and then also render nodes, machines that render content, can connect with VDT Network next to running Golem to pick up more jobs. So it's basically beneficial for render nodes and for the whole render economy.
Very cool. Now, is this something that's going to be used for large businesses like Pixar doing their rendering, or is it going to be for smaller individuals?
Well, that's the cool thing about VDT Network. It's like a set of APIs that connect to the VDT Network smart contracts. We'll offer like APIs, frameworks, tools, and all that stuff. So it can be connected to private enterprise applications, but also to smaller scale applications. So basically, it can scale to any way you want. And then when you have Pixar, which will be a client, any client, and that could be a user, a musician, or a company, they can connect to applications. And those applications connect to VDT Network. But the client, the end users, they don't have to know, what's going on behind the screens. They're using an application just like any other. So, and I think that's a good thing about blockchain applications and modern applications. You have the end user doesn't need to know they're connecting to a blockchain. They don't need to know that. They just want their content rendered. Yeah. So that's basically how it would work with VDT Network.
Cool. Now, you've previously had a success with Qlink.dj.
Right.
How would you say that success impacts your progress moving forward?
Right. So for the people at home who don't know, Qlink.dj is a music marketing application, and it's pretty popular on the internet. It's one of the world's biggest music marketing applications. And so I've been in the music industry and the music marketing industry for a while. And then my co-founder of Videato, a different application, I co-founded that with Itman Yildiz. He is the co-founder of Trap City, which is one of the world's biggest YouTube channels for music. It's a music
How big is that YouTube channel, just for people watching?
It's about 10 million subscribers. Yeah.
I'm working my way there. 10 million subscribers.
There you go.
Just click the subscribe
You're there
button
first.
if you
Yeah.
could.
Subscribe. And like and comment as well. Follow Dean Press while you're at it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. How do they find out
plug.
about you, VDT, everything?
Okay, so Twitter is VDT_network, and then I am Dean Press on Twitter. So there you go. And then you can also go to VDT.network in your browser, and there you can sign up to the mailing list and join the Telegram channel and, be a part of the community. Anyway, your question was, Qlink.dj. Yeah. So we founded a new website, which is a new application called Videato. If you're familiar with Silicon Valley, that's kind of where we got inspiration for the name, like Aviato. And then
yeah, Silicon Valley, awesome.
Right, so we're like, what's a good name for video rendering? Oh, Videato, it just rolls off the tongue. Right.
That's awesome.
So
did you have to go on a spiritual journey to find that name?
I cannot comment on that.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, so So Videato is an application that music channels like Trap City and Trap Nation can connect to. And they can connect their YouTube channel to it, and instead of having to render their content manually for hours and hours, and you know, do the whole process and finding a background, changing the titles, entering the details, all that stuff, you just drag your song into VDT Network, and it shows you a library of backgrounds. You can just add it, crop it, edit it any way you want, but basically just drag and drop. You click something, and within a few minutes, it's going to be on your YouTube channel, as opposed to 5 hours of rendering. So that's Videato, and then and that was related to the music industry, right? So then with Videato, we ran into a problem, and that problem was that the licensing models for the software that we use in our backend changed their models from 1 license per server to 1 license per 4 cores per server. Okay. Now, render farms generally, they don't, you know, run on 4 cores. Rendering machines, they run on like 64 cores, like our servers.
Gotcha.
So instead of paying 1 license per server, suddenly we're paying 8 licenses per server, and that goes per minute. So that was a big increase in our costs. So we were already into blockchain development and all that stuff, and especially NEO. And excuse me. And we decided, or we realized that this is something that a decentralized solution would solve. So, and there wasn't anything like that for us, so we decided to build it for ourselves. So our application Videato, which is a music application, which basically makes the whole rendering industry easier for music, now will connect to a decentralized protocol, which will solve our existing issues with our cloud services. So that's how the whole thing interconnects. It's one big decentralized web.
Dude, I love how you came up with the name. That's freaking awesome. Now, so you're talking today. You haven't spoken yet at NEODevCon, but
NEODevCon. Yeah.
Anything you're
2018.
2018. Make sure this is NEODevCon 1. Make sure you come to NEODevCon
2.
Yeah, if it
2019
when it
maybe.
happens. Yeah. When are you going to be telling people out there anything that you want everybody watching at home to know?
All right. Well, something which is some new information, which I'll be telling on stage, is that VDT Network will connect with digital identity. So the parties, the render nodes, render farms, and clients can connect with each other using digital identity, so they can validate their quality and service and stuff like that, and reputation. So they're able to connect with the people who can give the best results. You know, and so that solves a lot of the issues, such as when there's a dispute, when the rendered content is not correct or something, then there will be a dispute, there will be a problem, and that would result in having to verify, you know, who's right and who's wrong, and you know, should there be a punishment and all that stuff. Now those things can happen off chain, which takes a whole load of verification processes and stuff like that. So it's going to be cheaper and faster and just more convenient in that way. So that is one of the things I'll be talking about.
Very cool. I'm sure everybody at home is excited for that. So should we keep going? Should we pass it on? I don't know how this works. First time, guys. First time. I'll get better as I go. I promise by the end of the day I'm going to have this down pat.
You're doing fine, man.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, well, you have my Twitter, DeanPress, and VDT_network on Twitter as well. Join the Telegram, join the newsletter, and yeah, that's gonna be, that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Also, subscribe to Crypto Love, trying to get to 10 million subscribers.
10 million subscribers. Yeah.
Dude, it was a pleasure. A lot of fun. My
Thank
pleasure.
you, man.
And then, guys, we have YLGV with Zeepin coming up next.
Right. Woo. Woo.
Thank you, Crypto Love. Again, Danny here from YLGV. And now we are here with Zeepin. So before we really just get into anything, could you just give us a basic idea of the project for the people watching?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm honored to be here and thanks for having me here. And Zeepin is an ecosystem. We want to build like a very efficient facility with multiple dApps that everybody can use. So that's in creative industry. Yeah.
Now, one of the biggest problems, especially today, is copyright. Yeah. Especially where I come from on YouTube, you can download someone's video and you could essentially upload it to your own channel, and they could claim it as their own and get views from that way. And there isn't a lot that you can do besides filing a copyright claim. Now, what is Zeepin going to do with this copyright, and how important is it to protect it?
Do you mean like how we protect the content creators?
Yeah,
like,
how you
do
can
we
create
protect
their
copyright?
exactly.
Yeah, so first we have a machine learning components that will check if your work has been submitted or not. So we need to make sure that your work is original before we do the whole procedure of copyright protection. And then you have to do KYC, which means that you have to make a record on the blockchain, and because the consequences might include lawsuit with the evidence of violation on blockchain, and if you're smart, you don't want to do that because the violation on the blockchain won't be deleted. And then we have several dApps, 3 dApps: Z-Sure, Z-Rights, and the Z-Proof. So on Z-Rights, you can like get a copyright of your a certificate with this on this dApp. So it's basically a certificate. And then on Z-Sure, we provide protect your legal rights, provide you with insurance service and legal consultation. And then on Z-Proof, it's basically a zero knowledge proof, which means that if you're concerned, we will not disclose your copyright contents on the blockchain, only the existence of your copyright. So that because we only write hash values on the blockchain. So in that way, we can provide you with the copyright protection service. Yeah.
Awesome. So now, really, when we're thinking about the Zeepin ecosystem, with the growth of cryptocurrencies today, there's so many different cryptocurrencies and ones that provide so many different ecosystems that do so many different things. What really differs your ecosystem from the bunch of others that are out there already?
Well, that is a good question because a lot of people compare us to other, services. But what we do is different because, first of all, there is no ecosystem that does what Zeepin is going to do. Because, first of all, it's our background. We come from China's biggest creative website, and we've been running a creative community for more than a decade. And we have extended the client base to a global scale, covering 1.2 million designer users. So we've been in this industry for more than a decade, and we know what exactly issues for example, freelance designers are faced with. For example, copyright protection, middleman, and access to global markets, and staying idea phase, the problem of idea conversion. And so we also work with our partners why we are empowered to do provide all this service, because we're working with the underlying technology provided by our partners, NEO, on-chain, Ontology. So that's why we're different than others, and we are so believe that we can actually develop those dApps and then do something good for the community. And among all the 8 dApps, 3 are finalized for testing now. So it will be very soon. And
yeah, so you guys already have a grasp on everything. You guys have been studying it for a while.
Yes, absolutely.
So now let's look at the actual token itself, the ZPT token.
Yeah.
How exactly do you see the token growing, and how is it going to be used in the ecosystem itself?
So ZPT token, first, it will be used as you can earn it. So we have a consistent community mechanism, which means that we will reward the community contributors, and we would just to encourage people to get involved in the development of the community. So we have bounty, we have project evaluation, and we have contributors. For example, we have a video on YouTube with 2K views, a few K's view with subtitles in 11 languages provided by our community. So that's pretty amazing. I reward them with ZPTs. And then the second one is pay. I mean, most of our dApps are free. But if you want to use some special features on our dApps, you need to pay a little bit ZPT. For example, if you build a team, you want to name it Happy Moon, and then you have to pay a little bit of ZPTs. And if you want to register copyright on blockchain, that's also ZPT payment, just a little bit. And then want to manage your digital assets and transactions on Zcrates. You take if I want to take orders and then design, and then my client's gonna pay me ZPT. So that's the payment function. And then it's the investment function. We have a crowdfunding platform like service on this platform. So our ZPT holders can invest in this project, and then the funds will be locked up by smart contracts. And when the project is complete, the ZPT holders were gonna get the project's project raised in return by smart contracts. So it's expected that as the community grows, the demand to use ZPTs will go up as well. And we really believe that this is like amazing thing for our participants and for ZPT holders in a very long run, because we encourage them to use ZPT.
Right.
Yeah. So
now this is more just for your personal opinion. There are some platforms out there where content creators are able to get rewarded. How important do you think, in your opinion, it is to reward these content creators where on other platforms they are providing their content really for free with no reward at all?
Do you mean like crowdfunding?
Yeah, basically like crowdfunding and how people are going to get paid in ZPT, as you were talking about.
Yeah, so as I talk about people, like, you know, in that other platform that people get no rewards.
Well, let's say, for example, when you're looking at content creators, like on YouTube, if you're not part of the partner program, you're just uploading your content for free. Then we have some other platforms that have been out, certain websites where the content that you put up, you are actually getting paid. Not to put up that content, but you're getting rewarded from other users. So I was just wondering how important you thought that was, in your opinion.
I think it's very important because you know, if you do the original work, like if you write like hash values in this file, and if you change a little bit, and then the hash values will be totally different. So it's very important to get rewarded for what you do and to protect what you do.
Right. Yeah, because for me personally, guys, it's funny with YouTube. Sometimes, as I was saying before, you don't get too much copyright protection, especially if you are a small YouTuber. They're here to cater to a lot of the larger YouTubers. So it's good to see platforms where you actually have protection. You don't have to worry too much about your content being stolen, and if that actually is the case, then you're actually going to be able to do something about it. Is there really anything else that you wanted to just say? Any details at all?
I just want to thank all the fans, because we built it from very beginning, and now we have 44K followers on Twitter and 30K on Telegram. Just join our community and see what we can do and what we can provide for you guys in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Now we are going to go over to Crypto Bud.
How's it going, guys? It's CryptoBud here for today, and with you guys, I am here with the CEO and founder of Loopring. Oh my God, I'm so excited because, as you guys know from my channel, I've talked about Loopring a bunch of times, and I'm a huge fan of Loopring, specifically what they're doing with the tech. So I am honored to have here Daniel with me today, and let's start off with Daniel. Daniel, first of all, thank you very much for coming over. Can you tell us, for the audience who may have not seen my videos about Loopring, tell us a little bit about what you do and what's your vision for crypto?
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I'm the founder and CEO of Loopring Foundation. I think blockchain is the future. Yeah, so I'm a deep believer in blockchain technology, and I think in the future, the AI and blockchain will revolutionize the way we live and the overall economy. So, so we are developing a decentralized token exchange protocol and a set of software around it so that you can set up your own decentralized exchange really easy.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your technology and specifically about that. So Loopring, from my understanding and from I've done it, it's a protocol platform that is going to be pretty much the foundation, a lot of our decentralized exchanges. Now, let's talk a little bit about your relationship with NEO and Hongfei. A lot of our viewers have noticed that there was, on your webpage, there was a little bit of a connection. Can you tell us a little bit about that connection?
Yeah, first, NEO, I'm a big fan of NEO blockchain. As you know, as a protocol, we can deploy Loopring on top of many public blockchains. And NEO is our second blockchain to deploy our protocol. Hongfei is a friend of mine, as many people don't know. So we knew each other back in 2014. So when I had my very first crypto startup, which is a centralized exchange. Wow. So we talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas, bold ideas at that time, before he even founded this NEO foundation. Yeah, so right now he acts as an advisor to our foundation, and he is also a early investor in our token. So
awesome. I'm gonna have to ask Da later on about that. But let's move on to a little bit to your, specifically your technology. I've noticed that you've been focusing on the wallet specifically. A lot of people think that your foundation is focusing on exchanges. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision for the wallets and specifically the app, and how Loopring is going to play a role in mobile exchanges?
I think in the future, a lot of token exchange will happen right from the wallet in a decentralized way because of the lack of security on centralized exchange. But I also believe that in the future, it's going to be a mix of both centralized and decentralized because people, they have to learn about how to manage their private keys in order to use the decentralized applications. So I think it's going to take like a year or two for many people to get used to manage their private keys, to own their assets. Back to what's your question? The original question?
Oh, the original question was just about what do you see yourself, focusing on? I mean,
the
in
wallet,
the
right.
wallets. So the development.
So the big exchanges, they have a very solid cash flow for now. And they are really not incentivized to adopt anything new, and they are sort of they're short in manpower. They don't have these developers to try something as new as Loopring. They want to fix their centralized systems and keep them as safe, as secure as possible. So for them, they are not incentivized. But for small exchanges who are late in the game, they want to try something new so they can build a competitive advantage over those giant, right? And for wallets, a lot of wallets, they have very good user experience.
Yes.
But they don't have a source of income. They have a user base, but there's no way. Previously they have some ICO tools to help people to do ICO, but right now, the ICO is not that popular in countries like China, right? So they lost that kind of revenue. So I think in the future they are also considering enable people to trade right from their wallet, providing this extra but very important functionality will help them to get a lot more users.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's go over to the rewards. So this is a really interesting point. In terms of incentivizing users to migrate over to the wallets, this idea of decentralized exchanges and the extra added advantage, what is Loopring trying to do to incentivize people to use the wallets and to get off of the centralized exchanges so that your protocol becomes the chosen one for many of these?
For normal users, I think we provide the ultimate security and transparency. And since all the orders, all the liquidities are shared among all the relays in one consortium blockchain network, the liquidity will be better and the price will be much better. So for normal users, I think these are the reasons they want to choose to use wallet to do trading. But that side, I also have to say this again. A lot of users, they don't know how to manage their assets, crypto assets. It's better for them to still keep on using the centralized exchange because they have technical support, right? But for institutional investors or for international companies, if they want to trade cryptocurrencies between each other, I think it's better for them to not trust any centralized exchange, especially when the value they want to exchange are huge, right? So I think the decentralized exchange is not for everyone.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about ring matching and specifically also your technology in regards to making Loopring different. So there are a couple of companies, various projects out there, I say companies, that are working on also these protocols. Kyber is one of them, 0x. How does yours stand out in regards? And I did read something about ring matching that was really interesting about transactions and the speed.
Well, as a protocol, it must be really simple to be adopted. Loopring differs from 0x from Kyber in many ways. But if we mention 0x, I have to say I'm a big fan of 0x as well. It's a very inspiring project. I met the team, the core developers. They are solid, very good. We differ from 0x in several aspects. First, we have this ring matching. Yeah. So in one transaction, we can match multiple orders. And that brings better liquidity and price. And secondly, we have this new role called ring matchers. It's an independent role, so people don't have to pick the order, right? So in 0x, you have to pick the order. So you have taker, you have maker. So you have different type of orders. But in Loopring, there's no difference between orders. There's no taker, no maker. And the other one I think is more important is that we are using this permission blockchain architecture to enable the sharing of liquidity. And that's very important because in Loopring, we want to make sure the default mode is liquidity sharing. Everything is shared in this consortium blockchain so that we can have a better liquidity by default.
Let's talk a little bit about your different blockchains. So I know you mentioned that Qtum is actually one of the ones you're partnering as well, in addition to NEO. What's your stance on using that protocol across different blockchains, or are you focusing on specific ones? And how does that look forward going out in the rest of the year in terms of partnering up with specific blockchains?
As a protocol, we don't really want to bind to any specific blockchain. It's because we want to maximize the chance that this project will succeed in the future. So right now, I think Ethereum has the biggest ecosystem. They have the largest group of developers. NEO maybe comes in second. So our strategy is to implement Loopring on top of the most important blockchains. So in the future, no matter which one is the best one, we always have the chance. And our investors always has the best opportunity to get their, to get a really good investment, right? So Loopring is really a generic, it's really blockchain agnostic. So we are going to deploy Loopring on top of NEO, on top of Quantum this year. And that's the three blockchains are our focus. But going forward, we are going to deploy on more blockchains.
Speaking of which, I've been doing a lot of research on the Nex exchange. Can you tell us a little bit about your connection with Nex and NEO? Is that something that Nex has in plan in terms of the protocols, or will that be something that you're still working on?
So we position ourselves as a protocol. It's not a platform. It's not a set of website applications, right? So everything we develop will be open sourced. So as a developer, you can just clone our project and rebranding the software, right? So Nex is a platform. So we are going to work together. So Loopring protocol token is going to be used as the matching fee. It's a utility token for Nex. And Nex, their token is going to be a security token, so that if you hold this security token, you will get some bonus, right? So we are going to collaborate maybe in a couple of months, and maybe we are going to release a news about that.
Awesome, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about your token in terms of the Loopring Ecosystem Fund. What are the benefits of holding the token, and what are some of the key parts of your token economics for Loopring?
Well, this Leaf Fund is to incentivize developers to help us to improve the quality of our open source software. I think that's the main purpose. So the fund can be a way of investment, or it can be donated to some projects. But the donation, we are going to be really serious about the donation. It's going to be after effect donation. So if you've done something we think is cool, we are going to donate. We are not going to donate beforehand, right? So we have put like 20% of the current Loopring protocol token in this fund, and we are going to put more in that fund.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So one last question. If someone were to say, why would someone be interested in Loopring's project? One or two sentences, what would you say?
As an investor, if you haven't learned from other people's lesson, you are going to learn from your own lesson. So if you put your money on exchange, you always face the risks of, the fund being hacked or the owner got away from your money, right? So learn from others people's lesson. I think it's a good idea. Don't learn from your own lesson, right? Try Loopring. Try the Loopring wallet in the future.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And guys, that was Loopring. Thank you for that, Daniel. Appreciate for the information,
Thank you very
guys. And Crypto Bada. And then next, we're gonna have Chico Crypto.
Hey, what's up, viewers? I'm here with the man who needs no introduction, the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Da himself, Da Hongfei. He is one of the founders of the NEO platform. And so for our viewers out there, the ones that don't know what NEO is, could you just give a brief breakdown of what NEO is?
Wow, NEO is a great product. It's a great network. It's a blockchain for the future. It's a blockchain for the future smart economy. Yeah.
So NEO, currently right now to issue a smart contract on NEO, it costs about 500 gas.
Yes.
Is there anything going to happen regarding the fees of that? Are they going to go down to allow people who don't have the money to do that to build on top of NEO?
Yeah, 500 gas is quite expensive, but the economic model with NEO is different from other blockchains. We are more like the internet. So the business is paying for all the fees, and the consumers are basically using it for free. Currently, it's $2,500 or $25,000 to deploy a smart contract. But in the future, the NEO holders have the voting power to decide what price should be charged. Yeah.
For those smart contracts.
Yes, it's flexible, it's changeable.
So that voting functionality, when will that be implemented? Is there a deciding date on that?
We don't have a fixed date to when we can be able to do that. I imagine maybe in 6 months or to 1 year we can do that.
All right. So let's talk about NEO's DBFT. The consensus behind NEO. It took you and Eric, I read, almost 2 years to develop. Could you expand on how that happened?
Yeah, it took us about 10 months.
10 months?
To conceptualize all the NEO, all the architecture, from 2014 to 2015. We decided to choose DBFT because it's fast, the latency is very low. Currently, you need 15 seconds to 20 seconds to have one confirmation. It's much faster than other consensus mechanism. And second, it has perfect finality. That means you only need to wait for one confirmation to perfectly confirm that the transaction is already gone through. So you don't need to wait for 6 confirmations or 21 confirmations. And also it's a delegated Byzantine fault tolerant consensus. That means you have to vote for someone, then you have to know them. So the consensus nodes, they are identifiable. So it is more compliant ready, and it's more usable, suitable for financial and mission critical transactions.
Like enterprise solutions.
Yes.
Businesses can't have something that's going to take 6 confirmations, take hours. They need a confirmation then and there.
Yes, and it is not possible to have a network split
with
a fork, with DBFT, because there are many meanings of fork. The protocol can fork, and you can fork a project on GitHub. So I use network split.
Network split.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you first got into cryptocurrency, because I'm always interested finding out some of these founders, how they first got into crypto. So explain to our viewers how you first got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
I came across Bitcoin in 2011, and I can't remember exactly where I read the article. It must be some technical blog. And then I spent a lot of time researching on it because I was very interested in computer science, interested in economics, and I even borrowed cryptography books when I was in college, and I'm having a Bachelor of Arts degree. I'm not an engineering student, but I taught myself assembly language and C. The only purpose is to crack the computer in in my university's lab, so I can use it as my personal computer.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's not right, but
you got to do it.
It helped me to learn the lower level architecture of computers. Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You learning as a need, you basically learned computer science.
Yeah.
And that brought you into cryptocurrency.
Into crypto, yeah. And then in I think in 2013, a project came out. It's called Ripple, and it's using a slightly different technology than Bitcoin and doing slightly different things. Bitcoin is about money, is about how to create money and how to distribute money. But Ripple is about exchange, it's about payment. So I'm seeing the technology behind those two projects, but they are doing different directions. So I decided with my teams to do something else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the components of the NEO smart economy, like the NEO virtual machine. Could you explain how interop services will work within the NEO virtual machine and how it will plug into other blockchains?
Because NEO virtual machine is very different from other VMs, like Ethereum VMs. There's only two components with NEO VM. It's a stack-based virtual machine. There is one CPU. There is one stack. There's no persistent memory or hard disk with NEO virtual machine. So you need to, if you want to store something, you need to request for a persistent storage. And if you want to get other informations like system time, you need to request for a system time.
Yeah.
And you can even use the interop APIs to visit a website. You can even, in the future, you can even ask for a price of certain stocks, or maybe ask for the weather of today or yesterday, or something happened in the history. So interop service can provide all those kind of services.
Wow, that's amazing. So now let's talk about NEO ID. So I've heard that NEO ID, you're able to prioritize smart contracts.
Yeah.
Will NEO ID be its own project, or will you be working with similar ID projects such as TheKey?
It will be a feature or a module with NEO. It won't be an independent project. Currently, we don't. There is zero transaction fee in NEO. So if in the future we have to prioritize things, if some transactions is from a address that are linked to a NEO ID, a real person or real organization, they will be processed in at first.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing because, I mean, that's going to help enterprise solutions such as businesses come to the NEO blockchain.
I believe so.
Oh, I believe so too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about NEO's future. What do you see as the most exciting thing for the next 6 months, year?
Next 6 months, year.
3 years.
Per year, yeah. Yeah. I think we're still in the early days of blockchain technology, so it is still very technology intensive, and we are lack of a lot of fundamental or infrastructural protocols. So I'm looking forward for decentralized exchanges. I'm looking forward to distributed storage and stable coins, and those fundamental protocols is what we are looking for. In the next 1 year or 3 years.
So I'm sure you're pretty excited about Next then.
Sure.
Next seems like a very great project, decentralized exchange.
Yeah.
So let's talk about consensus nodes. How are those going to roll out in the future?
Yeah, currently there are 7 consensus nodes in the mainnet. Currently, it's all controlled by the new console, but we are in the process of decentralizing all the nodes to related parties, and there are already some organizations, they're willing to running consensus nodes, but ultimately they have to be voted in. Yeah, so all the NEO holders, you should vote for those organizations. Do you trust them to run consensus nodes? And we have to be very careful with decentralization of all the consensus nodes, because the protocol of NEO is evolving very fast.
Very fast.
We need to we need to, those consensus nodes act very quickly to upgrade. And if there is a bug, there is a security issue, we need them to respond very quickly. So we're doing the decentralization process slowly, gradually, and very carefully. I imagine in next maybe 2 years, all the consensus nodes will be fully decentralized.
Fully decentralized.
Yeah.
So that leads me into my next question regarding, during your presentation yesterday, you said that you hope NEO will be the #1 blockchain by 2020. And guess what? That's happening, guys. So regarding that, you said that by 2020, you'll be able to handle 100,000 transactions per second.
Yeah. Without sharding.
Without sharding.
Without sharding.
That's on chain, correct?
Yes.
That's amazing. So, will the distribution of the consensus nodes help with that?
It doesn't really help that. Actually, if you decentralize everything, things will get a little bit slower.
Really?
If you centralize things get faster. Yeah. So we have been calculating. We have been testing the possibilities. What is the limit of transaction per second for a single shard?
Yeah.
And we concluded that we can reach that number in 2 or 3 years.
In 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how many consensus nodes do you think will be out there in about 2 to 3 years?
I think between 10 to 20.
10 to 20?
Yeah, 10 to 20, yeah.
Do you think the NEO holders will be voting on those during that time?
Yeah, we're thinking about changing some mechanism to encourage, to incentivize those NEO holders to vote. So they're the holders, they're the stakeholders. They should do something for the good of the blockchain.
Good of the project, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some regulations and everything. So NEO has done an excellent job of getting their Western marketing very well. I mean, the West loves NEO.
Yeah.
I've heard some rumors regarding China possibly releasing regulations for ICOs. Do you know anything about that?
No, I've never heard of it.
You haven't heard of that?
I never heard of it, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that they do release some regulations because, I mean, that will only help.
I hope so, but I have no information about this. And I don't believe we will see a lift of the ICO ban in near future.
In the near future?
Yeah.
All right. Well, NEO has actually, when I first invested, I got in Ant shares at $1.42.
It's very early days.
Yeah, early days. And it shot all the way up. I think we're sitting at about $140 right now.
Yeah, around
so
that.
that's amazing. Talk to me about that. Like, the price increase. How has that felt?
My team always tells me, do not talk about price.
Yeah, of course. Don't talk about price.
So I said it's a very exciting experience.
Yeah, let's take away from price. Let's talk about popularity. Like the popularity of NEO. How exciting is that for everyone?
My co-founder, Eric John, he is very confident with NEO, and he always thinks that NEO should be one of the top projects at very beginning of when we started. So it's not a surprise what we. Our ranking at all the public blockchains. But what surprised me is the craziness in this industry in the last year.
I mean, literally a couple months in this industry can feel like a year. It moves
really fast.
Very fast. So let's talk about some just crypto economics regarding NEO. NEO and gas are very closely related.
Yes.
Do you see gas out pricing NEO in the future, or what is your thoughts on that?
Oh, I don't really know. It's demand.
Supply and demand.
Yes, demand. Yeah. Currently, it's like half the price of NEO.
That's usually what it sits at. Gas does.
I think as long as the price of gas is stable, I'm happy. Gas is ought to be the utility token. A utility token, they better be stable. Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, we need some other stablecoin solutions to have a stable currency inside the system.
Yeah, no, gas is it's probably one of the most brilliant concepts I've ever came across in the blockchain is by holding NEO, you produce gas, which is the utility. And gas is divisible up to the millionth, correct?
Yes, it's has the same amount as NEO ultimately, but I have to correct you that you are not earning gas. It's actually the gas is sticked with NEO. So one NEO is sticked with one gas. And then the gas gets released gradually in about 22 years.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So technically, if you're owning a one NEO, you own one NEO and plus a little less than one gas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for that correction, Dal.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for putting this event on.
Thank you,
NeoDevCon has probably been one of the best crypto events I've been to, and I've been to a few. So, Dal, definitely cheers,
Thanks.
man. And I can't wait for the future of NEO.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cheers. We're going to head over to Qlink right now.
Hey, everybody. We are here with Qlink. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
So, really, let's just get to start off. Tell me a little bit about Qlink. What exactly is Qlink, and how does it all work for the viewers at home?
Okay, so first of all, my name is Susan. I'm the CEO of the Qlink, and joining me today is our chief architect, Alan Lee, and he's covering everything about touch technology, blockchain, everything, product, and the hardware of the Qlink. So we started as a very small team, but with a great vision, and we want to be the first decentralized mobile network. And what decentralized mobile network is anything touch points and network service, including the internet access or any transaction to the internet, any transaction on the internet through access. For example, VPN, Wi-Fi, mobile data distribution. That's a part of mobile network, and we want to decentralize that service.
Right. Yeah. So now just going really into like a little more of the backbone of things, maybe if you want to describe some use cases for Qlink, and really just for the viewers at home that aren't going to be able to see your presentation, maybe you want to talk about some of the things that you're going to be talking about there so they can know about it as well.
Okay. There's a couple of dApp we're running. For example, the Wi-Fi sharing is the first dApp that we launched. So whoever uses the dApp can just plug into all the Wi-Fis that near them and be connected without typing into the password. Or you don't have to ask the password. So Wi-Fi has to be pre-registered, and anyone who can use Wi-Fi. And it's super safe because it's a P2P connection. And this is the first step. And the second will be the decentralized VPN service. Whoever can set up a VPN and be shared and get paid through the Qlink network. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So now just looking a little bit into competition.
Yeah.
Now the cryptocurrency market we've seen, especially in 2017, pretty much exploded.
Exactly.
So ideas that were at the time the only thing around, as more time goes on, there's a lot more competitors. So do you think that decentralized mobile networks are going to become more of a normal thing as we advance? And how do you think you're going to deal with any competition that's in the future?
So Alan is the best person to address this question.
Yeah, according to what I know, more and more startups and teams enter the mass network competition field. According, the decentralized mobile network, I think we are the first startup and we are the first team to build the decentralized mobile network based on the blockchain. I think the main advantage of Qlink is that we build a full stack protocol on the blockchain to the mobile network, including the hardware, including the P2P network and the virtual machine and the protocol and to the application. So it's very important for the user experience that the end-to-end is can more make sure the user experience smooth. And another advantage I think is we redefine the consensus. It's a new type of the POS consensus. We call the Sanden consensus. It's combined the proof of the space-time, the proof of the retrievability, and the proof of the transmission. With this consensus, we can unify the edge network and the core network into the token insensitive. Yeah, and the third advantage I think is we are building the network be aware of the content. It is very important to the telecom industry and to the network operator, especially for in the future to make everyone can operate the network and gain the benefit from it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, looking at the user base, how do you feel that users are going to accept a new mobile network since you guys are really bringing the first of its kind to the table?
What do you mean by adapted the first batch of users?
Well, I mean, the people who are going to be using the network,
Yeah.
how do you think you guys being the first platform that's doing something like this, do you think it's going to be easily adopted, or do you think you're going to have to maybe market it a little more?
Well, that is a brilliant question because this is one of the challenges that we're facing. And essentially, we're developing a utility app, which is a tool and anyone can use. But this tool is on the decentralized on the blockchain. And so we are facing how to adapt people into in the crypto world. And essentially, the first step will be serve the Neon community because the Qlink wallet is fully built into the Qlink first app, which is Wi-Fi sharing already. So it's running on the testnet right now, which means you can, if you have Neon on the testnet, you can buy the QLC. And you can use our app to register Wi-Fi to consume any other service that are provided. So when it's fully functionalized and you will be moved to the Qlink, will be moved to the Neo main chains. You have Neo, you can buy that. So this is the first step. And essentially, we're going to do marketing and make people to be aware about in crypto payments because we think it's very, very important, especially for the developing countries who are not fair friendly, and for people like Nigeria, they actually have to go to the post office to pay the telephone bills.
Right.
You have to have the in crypto, it's much efficient. And a lot of bills can be set into ways. So for example, the business, telecom towers, they have loan lease to the operators. We can settle into crypto as well. So there's a lot of dApp can be running on the public chain that Alan just mentioned. And this is our vision where we want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a little bit of interest into Qlink myself because I thought it was an interesting idea having a decentralized mobile network like this. And honestly, myself, I haven't seen an idea like that so far. So definitely competition in the future. I'm going to be interested in that to see exactly how they work to try to beat you guys, I guess I would say. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, we are first came out of the platform and so I think, and we're just keeping working hard to take a lead over the market.
Do you guys have any other plans for maybe further down in 2018 you want to talk about?
2018 is a big year for us. Do you want to share more details?
Yeah, first we have released all the dApps development. The MVP can support the Wi-Fi P2P sharing. And we are developing our protocol cluster, including the account share protocol, the name resolution protocol, and the billing protocol. By end of this year, we will support the decentralized firewall protocol and the decentralized search engine protocol. This protocol cluster will be finished in the 2018, and at the same time, we will launch the hardware base station to build a real mass network based on embedded hardware and put the protocol layer on it, and to encourage the Qlink developer to develop the dApps on this. Yeah, it's the target in 2018.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a product. And on the marketing side, so we're building the communities all around the countries, and we're recruiting the influencers who can help us to launch our project, because it's going to be a community-based project, and we encourage anyone who are in that country to go out, register Wi-Fi, and spread the words with the users to make sure the user can enjoy the Wi-Fi and VPN or other services without too much pain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's great that it's another way to really bring cryptocurrency and blockchain more into the real world and real world aspects.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we go.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you guys so much for joining me with Qlink. Danny here from YLGV, and I'm going to be sending you guys over now to Crypto Love.
Boom shakalaka. What's up, guys? Randall here from Crypto Love, and I have the man, Jonathan from Red Pulse here. And today we are going to be talking about NEO's first ever ICO, Red Pulse. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you. I am number one kind of starstruck just to be here with you, to be honest, and very grateful. So tell everyone out there about Red Pulse. What's going on with Red Pulse?
Yeah, would love to. You know, that's why I'm here, always helping to spread the good word on Red Pulse. So what we are, what's our platform about? We are a tokenized research ecosystem covering China. And we've used our own cryptocurrency, the RPX, as a fair and transparent compensation mechanism for outside contributions of research.
That sounds great. So you already had a working platform coming into the ICO.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Correct? And
yeah.
so how did that work for you with the ICO?
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of a backstory there.
Mm-hmm.
We've been operating as a business for up to close to 3 years actually at this point when we first started looking at the ICO. So we had a product, we had clients, big name clients, some of the top banks, asset managers, brokerages globally were using our research to better understand China. But there were two observations that we made as we were building this business. Number one, unfortunately, most of these financial institutions, they weren't willing to pay for generic research anymore. You know, they get a lot of free stuff from Bloomberg, from Financial Times, from other service providers, and it became really difficult to sell them on this sort of more niche research covering China. Now, the second observation, perhaps much more optimistically, is that these financial professionals were willing to pay for custom research. You know, so something that would give them an edge, something that would give them access to subject matter experts, to industry insights. That was something that they were willing to pay for, and in fact, pay a lot for. So considering these two observations, we stumbled across, and I have to give credit where credit's due, a website called Steemit. Mm-hmm. And so Steemit pioneered this idea of creating this content platform, yet using cryptocurrency as a compensation mechanism. So there's some aspects of that we borrowed. But in our case, what we're looking to do is to create a professionalized content platform, focusing on research insights from an audience of experts that are then disseminated to finance professionals that need it.
That's awesome. So another question that I had. So when you had your ICO, number one must have been pretty cool to be the first ICO on NEO. And then second, there was the whole China ICO ban going on around the same time, correct?
That's right.
How did you handle that? I mean, what was that like?
Well, hey, it was not an easy situation by any stretch of the imagination. I'll tell you that. I mean, I was, not a lot of things rattle me, but that was kind of a situation that we had to think through pretty carefully, and it's the reason why we postponed our ICO. Now, we still went forward with the ICO because Red Pulse as a company has been incorporated in Hong Kong from the get-go. From 2015, when we first established the firm, it's always been a Hong Kong entity. But given that there were so many regulations coming out so quickly, so hot and heavy, we just wanted to make sure that we were, abiding by all rules, all policies, and that we're compliant. And after hiring a Big Four accounting firm, after hiring a Hong Kong law firm that went through our purchase agreements, went through our white paper, and the token sale itself, we were given the go-ahead. We were given their blessing, and we moved forward with the token sale about a month later on October 8th.
Awesome. So how can people out there benefit from Red Pulse and also Red Pulse token?
Sure.
The platform and the token.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can benefit. So as a contributor, you don't necessarily have to be an expert in any sort of field. In fact, if you are a casual market observer, if you are bilingual in Chinese and English, perhaps English and Korean and Chinese, then you can already add a lot of value, because what we're really playing upon here is the information asymmetry that exists between people that are in China and have access to a lot of these sources of information versus those that are outside of China. And given that China is such a massive economic opportunity, it's already number 2 in the world by GDP in terms of economic size, China is a big deal. And people need to better understand China, for a number of reasons. And so we found that this is a great platform to give those people that have some abilities to either translate or share some insights on China a platform to speak and share those ideas and be compensated for it.
That's great. So what's it like running RedPulse?
RedPulse is amazing, and running RedPulse is a daily challenge, I would say, but it's also very rewarding. The challenges abound. I mean, it's the same challenges as running a startup, which I don't have to go through the laundry list of how difficult that is, getting a new platform off the ground. But it's combined with the challenge of running a cryptocurrency-based startup. And given the daily volatility of the cryptocurrency space itself, regulations that are changing seemingly on a weekly, if not daily basis, it just further exacerbates some of the difficulty there. But at the same time, very rewarding. So the fact that we are so much on the cutting edge of the development of new ecosystems that are founded upon cryptocurrency, that's super exciting. And all of my staff, all of my team members, super, super excited to be a part of this.
That's great. What developments have you done since the ICO? What have you been up to?
So, in a word, platform. So we've been focused on platform development ever since we finished our token sale, and much of that is actually hiring. So hiring the right staff. One of those things that we struggled with before we did the token sale was finding those right people, but also being able to compensate them at a value that was commensurate with their knowledge, with their skills, with their experience. Now that we are fully capitalized and are able to do so, we're running full steam ahead, finding the right people, building the team that can then focus on building the platform.
Well, since we're talking with people who may be awesome potential future team members, how can they find out about joining the team, or how can they find out more information?
Sure, absolutely. And thanks for the call out.
Yeah,
so you can just go to our website, www.redpulse.com, and you can also send us an email at careers@redpulse.com, and we would love to speak to you.
Now, is the RedPulse platform, is that available for people to use all over the world, or is it pretty much primarily for people in China?
It's actually targeting initially people outside of China. So the platform, at least even before we tokenized it, is primarily used by financial institutions, corporates that are global, that are outside of China, looking to better understand localized Chinese market dynamics so they can make better business decisions and better investment decisions.
That's great. Now, you're going to be talking later today
at
NEODevCon. And so, anything that you're going to be sharing there at NEODevCon that you'd like people at home who may not be here to know about?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that I'm going to be sharing at the initial side of my presentation is going to be pretty common, it's stuff that I've shared in the past, but I wanted to set that common tone for people in the audience that weren't as familiar with RedPulse. But later in the presentation, I'm going to be focusing more on sharing economy. So everyone talks about sharing economy these days, and there's tons of these, unicorn, decacorn companies that have built this business upon the idea of a sharing economy. But I want to use the example of a cryptocurrency-based sharing economy as a new way of building that sort of business model, and it's going to be pretty interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Awesome.
So another thing, I just saw you talking with Hongfei, and in fact, I got a picture with both of them.
I got a picture with you and Hongfei. Yeah.
Awesome. So that must be really great to have like a working relationship with him and be able to just communicate.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of the key reasons why we decided to partner with Neo and on-chain in building out this platform together. It's that accessibility and willingness to openly work together and collaborate on some of these new ecosystems and business models. And that's super helpful because if you look at some of the other blockchain platforms, you of course can build on those platforms as well. But whether it's because we're also in Asia, also based in Greater China, perhaps that provides us with more access. But it is access that is really critical to what we're looking to do. And having access to not only Hongfei, Tony Tao, Johnson, and the rest of the Neo core dev team has been pretty critical in us being able to achieve what we're looking to do.
Yeah. Another question I had. So because China does sometimes have regulations that affect things, and how do you prepare for that coming up in the future? Do you think, is that going to affect you, or? What do you have looking
I always go back to the old saying, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So we certainly aren't sticking our heads in the sand and just hoping everything just works out, fine. So we've looked at different scenarios that might play out in different market jurisdictions and have incorporated that into our business strategy. So I can't go into all the details of that, but we are making sure that this is going to be a viable, successful business model for many years to come.
Great. And talking about these upcoming times, what do you have planned in the roadmap?
So roadmap, which is, by the way, fully accessible on our website, so you can hold us to it. So for the first half of 2018, we're going to be focused on building out the new platform, of course. And the first step towards that is to transition our old LAMP stack, very old school stack, into a Drupal Django-based web framework. And the second step beyond that is to create a feed system for all of our current research. So using an API, probably a REST API, to allow financial institutions to directly plug into that feed of information. And then following that, we'll start incorporating the RPX as the actual compensation mechanism. And that will probably come later in second half of 2018.
Sounds like an exciting year.
Very exciting, yeah.
Do you find that things move very, very quickly in cryptocurrency, like so quick that it's hard to even keep up with it?
So incredibly quickly, but I wouldn't say it's hard to keep up with. It's just something that you have to get used to. So having been in this space as a crypto project for I would say less than 6 months, I almost feel like I'm one of the old guard. I see these other projects come about, and I tend to feel like, oh, okay, that sounds like they're doing pretty well. But come to think of it, I look back, when did we first start with the idea of creating a cryptocurrency-based research platform? It wasn't even that long ago, and it just really shows how quickly things move. You just have to adjust your own planning, adjust your own execution to match that as well.
That is awesome. Yeah, well, it's an absolute pleasure talking with you, and we're going to be wrapping up soon. But I want to ask, anything else that you'd like everyone in the world to know? No pressure.
No pressure at all. Yeah, so I just want to thank everyone out there for your consistent support of RedPulse and also RPX. We can't do any of this without you guys. So continue supporting us. We'll continue sending out communications, letting you guys know what we're up to, what's our progress, and we're going to make big things happen with RedPulse. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it's good. I think we may have a little bit more. Are we good to go? Or? Oh, okay, so guys, stay tuned, because coming up next, first I want to say thank you so much, Jonathan. It has been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely, same here.
Yeah, and coming up next, we have my man Crypto Bud with City of Zion, and we're out.
How's it going, guys? Crypto Bud here for today. I have the privilege of speaking with two of the co-founders for the Next Exchange and from the City of Zion. Yes, guys, those awesome wallets that just came out last couple of weeks, where it's seamless. It's fast, where you get to store your precious NEO and all the NEO tokens. So first of all, Thomas and Ethan, thank you for coming over to have this conversation. They basically are the brains behind all the technical parts on those wallets. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about, okay, how do I store my NEO, where to get my tokens? Today, we're going to ask a couple of questions, and hopefully they can share us a little bit about the progress, the pains, but also the growth and just what you guys have been doing at first. And it's fantastic, guys. So welcome again. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what you do. So Ethan and Thomas, just a little bit of your background, kind of like how you're connected with City of Zion and also Next. Those are two really ambitious projects.
Yeah, so we're both actually co-founders of City of Zion, along with Fabio, who many of you know. So that's how we actually originally met. And so over the course of months working on various City of Zion projects, we ended up really connecting and then going on to found Next, the company. So that's the sort of short version of our background.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, let's talk about the wallets. What have you done so far that has really enhanced the user experience for anybody who wants to store the NEO tokens and wants to get in terms of security and also for the UI?
Yeah, so I think sort of from day one, the idea was like, let's make it easier to store the tokens, right, and to interact with the NEO blockchain, right? And if you remember in the early days of ant shares and so on, like you had to install your thing and have it sync forever, and sometimes it didn't sync or it didn't work. Your gas claiming, you weren't sure how to do that, all of these things. So first we start with the idea of let's have a light wallet. So this means a wallet that sort of connects to remote servers to get the balance information. You don't have to sync, you don't have to wait. So that was sort of the first step. Second step was like, okay, let's make it easy to claim the gas, right? Because so many people have no idea what's going on there, right? So one button style gas click, right? So now when we have all of these token sales, ICOs and such, the obvious next step here is, right, let's make it easy to interact with those and to manage those. So that's kind of where it's moving right now.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about how these are getting incorporated with some of the newer tokens, like you mentioned about these ICOs.
Yeah.
I saw on the actual interface that there was an option to participate in some sort of ICO where you get to send your address. I mean, I thought that was great because unfortunately we already know that the last ICOs that came out, there was a little bit of a technical glitch with just getting your addresses, things getting refunded manually. I heard something that people had to refund those. How does that look for going forward for anybody who wants to participate in these ICOs? How your UI is going to make that a little easier and seamless?
I think the first part is, and this started with the RPX concept.
Yes, the RPX policy. Yeah, I remember.
And I think the main challenge is designing a smart contract that can support automatic refunds.
Got it.
Or even automatic rejection of transactions that, for some reason, go over the cap or not in the KYC whitelist. And to do that, you need and a little bit of additional logic in your smart contract. So I think in December, Next published a smart contract template for people to use that has all that functionality built in. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have used that yet.
Yeah.
And we're trying to set a standard for other tokens to use so that it makes this whole process both easier on the user, easier on the ICO operator, and also easier on the network.
Got it. Right.
So once that is in place, is there an option in Neon to perform additional verification?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, and we're going to use Neon Wallet as basically a vector to encourage, basically the use of this template, right? Because if we make it really easy to use that in Neon Wallet, then, many people I think will be very interested in using it.
Yeah, definitely. Currently, your wallet supports all of the Net5 tokens.
That's right.
Protocol.
Yeah.
So, can you talk? And this is from my personal experience. I'm not sure if anybody had it. In regards to updating the wallets and also the speed of some of the glitches in there, how fast, in terms of how is your team kind of working towards getting those out fixed? Because I know I tried to put all the tokens in, and not all of them showed up. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. Was that something that may be addressed or is going to be fixed, or how long?
I'm super glad you brought that up because that's a question we're getting a lot. So what's going on here is the wallet communicates directly with the nodes to get the Net5 balance information. And so unfortunately what happens is when the nodes don't give you that information, they're slow or they're down or for whatever reason, it basically returns zero balance or it returns non-existent. And so what that means is the wallet's like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore, right? So the obvious thing here, which we're going to do in the next immediate release, is to store a history of all of the tokens that you've ever had a balance on. So that way, if it pulls the node says there's nothing there, well, at least you still have the token there. Yeah. And maybe we have a message that says we just couldn't connect to the node. It doesn't have to just disappear. So for everyone who's experiencing this issue right now, do not worry. Your funds are there. Everything is safe. Everything is fine. It's just it connected to the node didn't give you an answer, and so it disappeared. That's
awesome.
it.
Thank you for that reassurance. Let's talk a little bit your relationship with NEO. So my understanding, Zena, can you talk a little bit about City of Zion for those people who don't know what that is? I love the Matrix, and when I first heard Zeta Zion, I was like, there's something special about this place. So tell us a little bit about just your overall, how are you connected with NEO? Are you doing this on your own? And I know you guys have done such a great job with just the community building and getting that tech out. So tell us a little bit about City of Zion, what it is, and how do you guys got started and things?
So I think last April or March or May, there was a Slack channel that NEO started, and in that Slack channel, Ethan and I were there, and a couple of other people, and it it was almost like a self-organizing
Oh.
thing. You could tell who was doing work and who knew what they were talking about, and out of that kind of formed the council.
Wow.
And once there, we had some level of organization in there. Fabio did a really good job of striking up a relationship with the NEO Council.
Awesome.
So we have always been an independent group of open source developers. We do receive funding from NEO Council themselves, but we don't receive instructions from them.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So all of our projects are self-directed, and so far it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Right. And just to add to that, it's a very bottom-up process. So if you're a developer in the ecosystem and you want to contribute, you want to do something interesting with NEO, just sort of start a project. You reach out to City of Zion. It's very likely, your project will receive funding. So, it really starts from the people doing the work, and then, we're happy to sort of help that continue, basically.
So with that said, what got you started with NEO and doing this? I mean, you could have chosen, you're a currently a PhD student at Stanford,
That's
is
right,
that correct? Yeah. And with your credentials and with your background, why NEO? Why not, let's say, any other one, Cardano or Qlink?
Yeah.
Tell us more about
So
that.
I think the thing that struck a lot of us about NEO was it had a lot of potential, and we felt we could make a big difference in helping it reach that potential. So, we were very early investors, most of us, and we read the original white paper, we looked at some of the original documents, and we saw just these huge technical ideas here which could make such a difference. But we saw the ecosystem component was missing quite a lot, and a lot of communication, just a lot of instruction. There's just so much that you could have that you didn't have, and we thought that this was just a really great opportunity to take our various skills that we've developed professionally and apply them here to help this community grow and succeed.
No, and Thomas, how about you? How did you get?
I've been a developer for a long time, and I got interested in Ethereum a little while ago, and tried the Hello World thing in Solidity, and it was just like, I didn't come back to it. It didn't grab me in the same way that when I found NEO. Just the community around it, and kind of like the unknown nature of it, because it was so fresh.
Yeah.
It was quite a challenge. Because when we encountered it, all the comments were in Chinese.
And that's the other question I wanted to ask you guys in terms of the language barrier and also the cultural differences. Obviously they're based in Shanghai. How do you guys work with that? Do you have a translator, or do you have somebody as a point contact to kind of deal with some of these potential issues that can occur with communication?
So we have fairly direct communication, both with Hongfei and Eric Zhang. So we communicate with them directly. And for the most part, people speak English very well, so it's not a huge issue.
Awesome.
In terms of, sometimes you run into issues with other people on the NEO team, or whatever, but these are issues that you can easily overcome.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's move over to Next. Okay, so we just yesterday we heard a presentation about Next Exchange. There was a whole payment system plan in there. Can you tell us a little bit about the direction of Next specifically, and also how does that connect back to the Neon wallet and all the things that you're doing? Are these two separate projects, or is this something you're going to be consolidating at some point in the future?
They're definitely separate projects.
Okay, great.
Neon wallet is a product of the City of Zion, and it's based on Neon.js, which we could talk a little bit more about.
But in terms of, City of Zion is sort of the day one sort of group that allowed us to get together and to do all of these things. And then sort of Next is this sort of separate project that a subset of us have decided to form to tackle these real big usability issues we see in the world of decentralized exchanges. So it's a very separate project, but a lot of the Next contributions will be sort of making their way back to open source code that City of Zion can benefit from.
So a lot of my viewers are really interested in this idea with this payment systems where it's really seamless. You don't have to go through like multiple wallets, go through different exchanges, have a really truly decentralized nature. How do you see the Neon wallet or just the overall ecosystem changing once Next gets rolled out and that going? Is that something significantly changing for the NEO ecosystem, or is that something that is still a work in progress?
I think the easy answer there is that you'll have much cleaner interaction with distributed or decentralized applications, right? So, part of the job that Next wants to solve is to make it easy for Next as a payment service, Next as an exchange, Next as anything to interact with these other third-party applications. And right now, I would say it's still a little immature in the ecosystem in terms of how you interact with that. Neon Wallet is a great example of one third-party application that could interact.
So in the future, in terms of so the way I envision this is Next is going to be where you can shop, you can go online, you can buy things, and can do the conversions there. And then your Neon wallet would be just your long-term storage of these coins. Do you see? Are you going to be focusing a lot on the Next exchange and trying to get that platform running, or are you going to? I mean, I'm sure you guys are pretty busy with everything, but what type of work will you be involved in terms of that team, in terms of Next specifically?
I think the Next, is definitely targeting long-term storage as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have this idea of decentralized banking, right?
Yes,
which definitely has that component. I think the main idea here is that there's room for multiple applications for different tasks, right? And if you want a truly open source project, Neon Wallet will always be there and will always be continued to be developed, right? Next is just sort of a different animal in some respects, and we'll have some probably additional benefits, but Neon Wallet will have maybe some of its own benefits as well, right? So they will be separate things, but there's room for both.
We've heard a lot about security, and specifically with exchanges getting hacked and whatnot. Let's talk about security in regards to Next. Now that we're introducing fiat gateways, technically speaking, and you could still, from what I saw yesterday, they had a slide where you can do that. Talk a little bit about security and how people are going to feel comfortable doing these exchanges right on the fly versus having to go to a centralized exchange with insurance. Like, for example, Coinbase, they supposedly have an insurance policy. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys are implementing that part.
I mean, I think the main thing is that you are always in control of your wallet. So if instead of when you go to Coinbase and you give them money, they deposit Bitcoin or Ethereum in a wallet that they control.
Got it.
And then you tell them to send it to somewhere else.
Exactly.
I think our idea, both with the fiat gateway and also with the exchange, is that you give a payment service, fiat, and they deposit the crypto directly into an address you control. So they're never holding it for you. And the same goes with the exchange. So you're not depositing your crypto in a centralized account. You're always in control of it.
So if you look at the hack that happened recently, right, this just would not be possible in the same way with something like Next.
So that's okay. So that's another key thing. Great, awesome. And last question here: if you were to, for the audience, why would someone get so excited about the Next exchange? If you would give a 1 or 2 sentence just about that project, what gets you excited about the project and actually have you wake up every day and said, I really want to work on Next tomorrow and make it better? What's the key thing and the highlight? What would you say?
So in my opinion, it would be sort of, just making this whole cryptocurrency space much more usable and much more user-friendly. That's sort of the #1 goal at kind of every level. But maybe Tom has a different...
No, my opinion is the same. I mean, I want my mother to be able to trade cryptocurrency without going through it, without becoming a crypto hacker, because I don't want a crypto hacker. So
great. Well, thank you guys both for coming here, guys. This was a pleasure having them come up here. And again, if you have any questions down there, I think these two are on board in terms of getting that seamless experience where my grandmother can go in and buy crypto without having to go through like 4 different exchanges, 5 different wallets. And to be honest with you, I loved the Neon wallet. I'm pretty sure you have also experienced that. So thank you very much for being on the channel. Thank you, Ethan, and thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
And thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.